In the world of high finance, where fortunes are made in seconds and empires crumble overnight, where power is measured in billions and the right move can turn a nobody into a Wall Street legend, one man dared to play the game like no one before him. He wasn't born into old money, he didn't inherit an empire, but through sheer willpower, ruthless ambition, and a mind sharper than a scalpel, he built one of the most dominant financial forces in history. This is not just a story about wealth, it's a story about power, about risk, about a man who saw the financial world not as a battleground, but as a chessboard, where every move had consequences and the stakes were nothing less than absolute dominance. This is the rise, the fall, and the rise again of the man who rewrote the rules of finance. The story of Steve Schwarzman, the king of capital. Scene 1. The beginning. Humble roots, big ambitions. A grainy black and white photo of a Philadelphia neighborhood. A young boy rides his bike past a row of modest houses. Our story begins with a boy who would one day control billions, but started with nothing more than curiosity and a relentless drive to succeed. Stephen Schwarzman was born in Philadelphia, the son of a small business owner. His father ran a modest linen shop where Steve would watch, listen, and learn. He saw how a deal could be made with a simple handshake, how persuasion could turn hesitation into a sale. But Steve wanted more, much more. From a young age, Steve Schwarzman didn't just dream, he strategized. He understood that success wasn't just about working hard, but working smart. He had one goal: to break into the elite world of finance and rewrite the rules of the game. At Yale, he wasn't just another student. He was watching, learning, absorbing the habits of the rich, the powerful, the decision makers. He understood that to get to the top, he needed the right connections, the right pedigree. And when it came time for the next step, he aimed even higher. Harvard Business School, the breeding ground for America's next generation of Wall Street titans. Here, Steve honed his skills in finance, deal-making, and strategy. But something was missing. He didn't just want to study business, he wanted to be in the game. And then, Wall Street came calling. Steve landed at Lehman Brothers, one of the most powerful investment banks of its time. It was here, in the high-stakes world of mergers and acquisitions, that he got his first taste of deal-making. The adrenaline, the strategy, the high-risk, high-reward nature of finance. But Steve was not content being just another banker. He wasn't interested in playing it safe. He wanted to build something bigger, something that had never been done before. He had the knowledge, he had the ambition, and now all he needed was the right moment to make his move. Scene 2. Blackstone is born. New York City, 1985. A time of ambition, excess, and high-stakes finance. But for Steve Schwarzman and Peter Peterson, it was the beginning of something entirely new, a financial empire built from nothing but an idea and a handshake. Schwarzman and Peterson sit in a tiny office, bare walls, a single phone, and a borrowed desk. No luxury, no prestige, just a dream. Steve Schwarzman was 38 years old, hungry for success and ready to take Wall Street by storm. His partner Peter Peterson was a seasoned veteran, a former CEO of Lehman Brothers, a man who knew the industry inside and out. Together, they had the vision, but they lacked the one thing that made Wall Street move: money. Peterson had been Steve's mentor at Lehman Brothers, and together they had watched the financial world change. The rules of capitalism were shifting. Buyouts, leveraged deals, and private equity were on the rise. They saw the opportunity, and they were ready to seize it. But there was a problem. They had no track record, no deals, no capital. Blackstone was just a name, a bold idea without a foundation. And in the ruthless world of Wall Street, ideas alone weren't enough. Their goal: raise $1 billion. The challenge: convincing the wealthiest, most powerful investors in the world to trust them. The first meetings were brutal. Rejection after rejection. Some laughed at them, some ignored them. But Schwarzman and Peterson didn't back down. They refined their pitch, honed their strategy, and made their case with unwavering conviction. Schwarzman on the phone, making call after call. Peterson adjusting presentation slides, preparing for another pitch. Doors closing in their faces. Another rejection, then another, then a breakthrough. A major investor nods. A deal is made, then another, and another. One by one, they convinced the skeptics, pension funds, wealthy families, global institutions. Money started flowing in. Against all odds, they did it. By the time they closed their first fund, Blackstone had secured over $800 million, just shy of their goal. But it was enough. It was more than enough. The revolution had begun. Blackstone was no longer just a name, it was a force. And soon, it would become one of the most powerful financial empires the world had ever seen. Scene 3, dominating private equity. It didn't take long. Blackstone was no longer just an up-and-coming investment firm. It was a force, an unstoppable juggernaut that played by its own rules. And at the center of it all was Steve Schwarzman, a man who saw financial opportunities where others saw risk, who understood that in the right hands, debt wasn't a weakness. It was a weapon. This was Blackstone's strategy. Find undervalued, struggling companies, buy them with borrowed money, flip them for a fortune. It was the art of the leveraged buyout, and no one played the game better. They weren't just making money, they were making history, and they were fearless. When others hesitated, Blackstone went all in. They took risks others wouldn't. They bought companies no one else wanted. And their bets paid off big. Steve Schwarzman was no longer just an investor, no longer just a businessman. He was becoming something else entirely, a symbol of power, a legend of Wall Street. From hotels to shopping malls, from oil fields to skyscrapers, Blackstone wasn't just managing wealth. They were shaping the very economy itself. But power comes with a price, and what goes up must come down. Scene 4, the crash, fall from glory. A Wall Street trading floor, panic. Phones ringing off the hook. Traders yelling. The stock ticker flashes blood red. Dow Jones plunges. Then came 2008, the day the music stopped. The biggest financial meltdown since the Great Depression. Wall Street, once an untouchable fortress of wealth and power, was crumbling from within. Steve Schwarzman wasn't just watching history unfold. He was fighting to keep his company alive. Lehman Brothers has just filed for bankruptcy, marking one of the largest corporate failures in history. A trader walks out of his office carrying a single cardboard box. Behind him, his colleagues stare blankly at their screens, as if trying to process the unthinkable. Banks were failing, titans of finance, gone overnight. Lehman Brothers, gone. Bear Stearns, gone. Merrill Lynch, barely holding on. The world Schwarzman had once conquered was collapsing around him. And private equity, it was under siege. The deals that once came so easily disappear. Investors panicked, withdrawing their money. The lifeblood of private equity, credit, was frozen. Banks refused to lend. The game had changed. For the first time, Schwarzman wasn't just playing to win. He was playing to survive. A dimly lit room. Schwarzman sits at his desk, papers scattered, staring at financial reports. The weight of his empire pressing down on him. This was it. This was the test. Blackstone had survived recessions, bad deals, market swings. But never anything like this. Was it all about to come crashing down? Or was this just another deal to be won? Executives gather in the boardroom. A map of the financial crisis is spread across the table. Schwarzman's sleeves rolled up, points to key opportunities amid the wreckage. While others panicked, Schwarzman planned. While others sold, he bought. Where others saw risk, he saw opportunity. he made a bold decision. Blackstone would pivot. Instead of relying on traditional deals, they would focus on something no one else wanted: distressed assets, real estate, debt, struggling companies. They would buy at the bottom and wait for the storm to pass. While banks collapsed, while hedge funds bled out, Blackstone adapted. And slowly, the tide began to turn. What should have been the end became just another chapter in Blackstone's story. Steve Schwarzman had done the impossible. He had weathered the storm, and as the financial world rebuilt itself, Blackstone stood stronger than ever. Scene 5. The comeback, rebuilding an empire. Legends don't fade easily, and for Steve Schwarzman, failure was never an option. He didn't just rebuild Blackstone, he transformed it. As the world reeled from the financial crisis, Schwarzman saw something others didn't: opportunity. While banks tightened their grip, fearful of risk, he expanded. While competitors hesitated, he moved with precision. He wasn't just playing the game, he was redefining it. By 2019, Blackstone was no longer just a private equity giant. It was the undisputed leader in alternative investments, managing over $500 billion, more than the GDP of some countries. This wasn't just a comeback, this was a statement, a declaration that Blackstone and Steve Schwarzman were bigger than ever. He was now a global force, a man whose influence stretched from Wall Street to Washington, from Beijing to London. He didn't just build wealth, he built a philosophy. He wrote a playbook for success, sharing the strategies that made him a titan. A man who started with nothing. A man who changed the face of modern finance. Today, Steve Schwarzman is more than just a billionaire. He's more than just the founder of Blackstone. He's a symbol of ambition, of resilience, of the art of the deal. He redefined what was possible in finance. He turned debt into power, risk into opportunity, and setbacks into fuel for even greater success. The key to success isn't just intelligence. It's persistence. It's learning from failure. It's taking risks when everyone else is afraid. From real estate to technology, from finance to infrastructure, Blackstone's fingerprints are everywhere. The way people live, work, and invest has been influenced by a man who started with nothing but an idea and an unshakable belief in himself. But even the greatest titans understand that wealth is meaningless without purpose. Schwarzman has given back, donating hundreds of millions to education, research, and the future of global leadership. Success isn't given, it's built, it's fought for, it's earned. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more incredible stories from the world of business and finance.